E te rau e te rau a morena ki koutou katoa. E are taringa mai I tēnei ata, anō oki e mātakitaki mai ki runga I tō tātou nei wārangi pukamata. Kei te kōrero mātou, a te kurimako, ki tētahi wāhine rongonui rawa, e pāna ki tō tātou nei maunga, ko Taranaki ko Liana Poutu tēnei. Ko taumai ia te kōrero e pāna ki ngā nekehanga o Te Ruruku Pūtakerongo, anō oki mō ngā nekeanga mo te pōpō oki. Ata Marie.
Ata Marie Taiaroa, tēnā tātou.
Tēnā tātou. So it's been a massive time, and especially for our maunga and you know, really reclaiming our rights. That's what I believe it is, and I've been encouraging over the last couple of months our people to vote, number one, whether that's a yes, whether that is a no, you know, giving that choice to our people, but making sure at the end of the day, just like the elections, that you have your say about what's going on. So, Auntie, if you can just give us a little bit of a brief explanation for some of our listeners who don't know what we're talking about, Te Ruruku Pūtakerongo.
Ka pai. So Te Ruruku Pūtakerongo is the collective Maunga redress deed. And for those of you that tuned in to some of our hui and our online hui will know that as a part of our individual iwi settlements, there was one part missing out of each of the individual 8 iwi settlements, which was the cultural redress for Taranaki Maunga, for the Maunga within the national park. And so our mahi over the last 6-7 years has been negotiating that cultural redress component that was left out of all of our individual settlements. So tomorrow when we sign the agreement, it's really just completing all of our iwi settlements. But most importantly, it's about giving recognition and status to our maunga as tupuna. That's first and foremost. And all of the mechanisms that we have negotiated as a part of the redress deed are about the health and well-being of our tupuna going forward, our relationship with our tupuna, and our responsibilities to continue caring for them. And so that's probably as simply as I can put it at this stage. But tomorrow really signifies that we've completed the negotiations. There's sufficient support from our whānau around the maunga for that redress deed, and so we're proceeding with the signing tomorrow.
That's good. So that's basically where we're up to is, like you said, it's been 6 long years. And I take my hat off to the likes of you, Uncle Jamie Tuta, and the many others who have been involved, including all 8 iwi that have come to the party and really shown up for this kaupapa, which is obviously a very important one for us in terms of that ending those agreements, like you said, and that recognition of our tupuna. So where are we up to now, and what's next?
So once we sign the agreement tomorrow, it becomes a formal agreement deed between ngā iwi o Taranaki and the Crown. And as we indicated when we were doing our series of hui, information hui, we are aiming to have the bill, the draft legislation, introduced into the House next week. So we've got a small window. And we always indicated that we'd have a small window in which we could introduce the bill prior to the election. So it's an administrative kind of task, but what the introduction of the bill does next week is that it gets it on the legislative timetable. So when Parliament comes back, it's already sitting there ready to go rather than having to wait, for decisions of the incoming government. And then we will move through the legislative process. So people should be familiar with that from the iwi settlements. You have it introduced, then you have a first reading, then it gets referred to select committee so people can submit on it. And then it'll have a second and third reading. And once the third reading has gone through Parliament, through the House, then it will be all done, and everything will kind of click in from that point. So there's still a little way to go, but from our point of view, signing the deed is a really important milestone for us.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think it was Calvin Davis who commented on a particular post and said, "Don't worry, whānau, we got your back," basically. And I guess for you and the negotiators, it would have been a bit of a, I don't know, you would have been thinking, okay, what's going to go on? What's going to happen? And just to have that reassurance from the minister about, that tautoko that is still there for this, which we know it should go through. Well, that's koinati, that's the hope anyway. So what do you think the response was from the voting process? And do you think we achieved what we set out to do throughout that ratification process?
Yeah, we did. So we had, overall, we had a 97.65% support in favour of the arrangements, which is a really high support percentage. We were really hoping that it would be high and that there wouldn't be a grey area, and we're trying to figure out if we do it. And actually that support was consistent across the 8 iwi. And what we'll do is we're going to put the results up on our taranakimaunga.nz website, so you can see the breakdown of each iwi. But that percentage between 96-98% support was across all 8 iwi. And then the overall result was just under 98%. So we're really pleased with that. I think the participation rate was about, I think it came in around 25% participation rate across the iwi. We would have liked more, and we certainly encouraged, as many people to vote, but still comparative to other voting processes, 25% is a pretty good turnout. I mean, even central government and local government, voting processes, our people don't turn out in those numbers. So we're really pleased with the result. We're pleased with the number of people that came to hui, that listened, that talked to their whānau, that sent in questions that we responded to, and participated. So a really good result all around. And I think I can say this on behalf of all the negotiators: if our people were not in support of this by an overwhelming majority, we would not be signing the deed tomorrow. So, we're really glad that we're in a position to do so.
You're so right. Our people don't turn up for things when it comes to voting. They just think when they say "I" sitting on the couch, then that's their vote. But I guess that's really comes down to that commitment and dedication that you, the negotiators, and being so informative. You did lives from your phone, from your car, from your house, from the hui, and it was just so informative all the way through, so that our people knew exactly what was going on. And I mean, it's been going on for 6 years, and for some of my mates, they're just learning about it from the initial signing at Aotearoa. Never heard of it, never knew what was going on until they seen that and thought, nah, yep, we're going to do this. And I hope, that has spread across the motu. Auntie, there's some key messaging for tomorrow for people like parking. There's other things that you may have as well that you want to talk about for our pōpō.
Yep. So our pōpō, we are at Owae in Whaitara, and the first pōhiri is at 9 a.m. and that's for all of our iwi of Taranaki and our whanaunga iwi to be welcomed on to Owae, and then we'll prepare ourselves for an 11 o'clock pōhiri for the crown. And pretty much straight after that, we'll kick into the formalities. So the ceremony will kick off at about midday, and then hakari is scheduled for 1:30. So some of the key messages are, it's a kura day tomorrow. And so we don't have the luxury of having the school grounds available for parking. And so we're really encouraging whānau to get there early to secure parks, and there might be a bit of a walk because we haven't been able to secure the school grounds, which we usually do out at Owae. There will be bus and kaumātua drop-offs right at the gates, so you can bring kaumātua and drop them off at the gate. The buses will stop at the gate and then they'll go off and park. So there'll be traffic management in place, and you just need to follow all of the instructions out there. But really get there early. Get there early to make sure you get a park and you're there on time. So 9 a.m. pōhiri for the maunga and those of our whanaunga iwi from Te Kāui Maunga, and then 11 a.m. pōhiri for the Crown. Ceremony will kick off 12 o'clock, 1:30 hakari. So I'm in favour of putting this message out to our olds. It's going to be a long time from 9 a.m. until 1:30. So if you need to take your medications, please take them when you're supposed to take them. And we'll have a station set up so people can, if they need a inu or a bit of kai, you know, partway through, then they will be able to do that. So just be mindful, it's a long day before hakari. And there'll be a lot of sitting through a lot of pōhiri and kōrero, so just be mindful of that. We've got a marquee set up outside for overflow, just so everyone knows. So if you're bringing your tamariki and you're worried about, oh, are they going to, you know, how am I going to be able to exit the whare, we are setting up a marquee outside that will have the live streaming of what's happening in the whare. So I think those are the key messages for tomorrow. But just come and... one thing, we had another practice last night for haka pōhiri, and really just mauria mai ngā kākahu Māori, ngā taonga Māori, those things that are special to your whānau, please wear them. And what did Puna say last night? She said, nothing is too much. So, ka pōpō, just, you know, kākahu Māori, taonga Māori, bring it all. And represent your whānau tomorrow, because actually that's what it's about, representing our tupuna and our whānau. So those in the haka pōhiri, though, are kākahu pango. Yeah, kākahu pango. Hāte, panikotiroa mō ngā wahine, and tāne mā paraikete, mena he paraikete tāu. Yeah, mō ngā tāne, but tihate pango. Koira ngā karere. Whakahirahira.
Ka pai, ka pai. You know, that's exactly what I've been telling my listeners, is to, you know, bring it. Don't be just coming in black, you know, dress up, show us your patterns, wear your raukura, your earrings. Everyone's got those flash Māori earrings nowadays, auntie. So Puna is right, and I tautoko your kōrero there, Puna. Wear your kākahu Māori, wear something that represents your whānau. And just to think about it, I'm probably going to have to make a trip back to Pātea to go and do the same thing. But there you go, whānau mā. Arrive early is some of the key messaging. Parking along the streets, you can drop off our kaumātua closer to the gate. There'll be traffic wardens in place for that. The pōwhiri will kick off at 9 o'clock, so make sure that you're all lined up. Your voice is nice and warmed up. For your karanga, for your waiata, me era atu momo atuatanga. And then, of course, we will have that pōwhiri for ngā iwi o Taranaki and Te Kāui Maunga, as Auntie has said. The crown will come on at 11, ceremony at 12, and then kai hakari at 1:30. So make sure that you go with a full stomach. If you've got tamariki, make sure that you're nice and warm. There is a marquee available with a TV, with the live broadcast from Te Korimako. We will also be going live on our Facebook page here, as well as on the radio. I will be coming to you live from Owae Marea. Really exciting times. And is there any sort of other messaging that you want to get out there before we wrap up for today?
E mihi ana kia tātou ngā uri o tō tātou nei maunga, me tō koutou tautoko mai I tēnei kaupapa, te tainga ātinana mai ki ngā hui, ātaringa mai ki ngā hui ātopa, me te pōtitanga, e mihi ana kia koutou. Engare, e kore e mutu ngā mihi kia koutou o te korimako o Taranaki, kei reira koutou I ngā kaupapa katoa huri no I tō tātou maunga, ko te apōpō anō hoki tērā, nā reira e mihi ana kia koutou. E whakapāho atu I tō tātou kaupapa, ki ngā uri, kāri noho ki raro I tō tātou maunga, nā reira e mihi ana, e mihi ana.
Tēnei te mihi atu kia koe. Ati Liana, kua whai wā kia tātou ki te korimako, anō oki ki te iwi katoa. Nō reira, I look forward to... kei reira koe a popo?
Ana.
Yes, well, I'll see you there with all the bells and whistles on at the same time. Ka nui ngā mihi atu kia koe I te rangi nei.
Ana, ngā mihi.